welcome everybody. Welcome to another We Uplift moment. And once again, I have the opportunity to talk with a wonderful person who has such a soothing voice that always captivates us, Vincenzo in Sicily from the Now Technique. Vincenzo and I, we've talked a couple of times before, but every time we talk, there just seem to be more and more things coming up. And for some reason, we always end up talking about food. I'm not sure why that is, but we do. And today I don't want to talk necessarily about food, although I'm sure we'll get there. But I was wondering when it comes to the Now Technique, when I go to your webpage, thenowtechnique.com, you've got that O which is a beautiful image, and you also have a tree there. So let's go with the tree first. How does the tree fit in to the Now Technique? And I know that's a mean question to ask.
Mm, Well, the tree fades in, and we can use the metaphor of the tree, like just like before we used the metaphor of food and the
Mhm.
buffet. Fundamentally, because whatever we put our attention on, it grows in our life.
Mm.
So if we put attention on sad stories, they will grow.
Mhm.
If we put attention on unconscious patterns which repeat themselves and themselves, which we give life to by complaining that life doesn't work, by telling ourselves how bad we are or how bad life is, the particular thing we give attention to will grow and it will bear fruits. So the
Mhm.
fruits that we will ripe from giving attention to that thing will be fruits that show us how bad life is,
Mhm.
because we have cultivated the tree of life is bad.
Right.
With the now technique, we become aware of what we are cultivating.
Mhm.
We become aware of the kind of garden that we
Mhm.
are sustaining. And we kind of come to the place where we discover that there is an alternative. And that alternative is within ourselves, and it expresses itself as a loving, as a caring, as a supporting, as a reliant, trusting presence. That is what the Now Technique is all about. The Now Technique is about clarifying what we are dealing with, putting order, and discovering that trusting voice, no matter how small it is, even though it's just a tiny, tiny little seed
Mhm.
in the middle of grown up other trees, that little tiny seed is what we begin to trust and cultivate. We call
Right.
that seed the seed of knowing, which is
Mhm.
a silent presence, which for some people expresses itself as simply as a silent recognition of being already perfect. For other people, it expresses itself like a voice that
Mhm.
speaks, that encourages you, that tells you how beautiful you are, that tells you how good you are and how lucky you are, no matter what, just for the very simple reason of being alive or breathing.
Mhm.
For other people, it expresses itself as a light or as a vision of one's life transformed.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how it expresses itself, but it comes as something which has the power of shifting our focus from something that causes us pain to
Mhm.
something that begins to nourish us and support us. So that tree is really the tree of knowing, is the
Mhm.
tree of silent awareness that grows and ripes new fruits, which are the fruits of awareness, which are the fruit of trust, the fruit of love.
Wow.
That's what the tree is about.
That's beautiful. And I know that you also talk a little bit about the rose. And of course, I know that because of the fantastic webinars that you do where you share more about that. So, would you mind just for anybody listening or watching this today, what's up with the rose? Why is the rose so important?
Well, I believe that the rose touches many human beings and is a good model for really understanding the care, the attention, the discrimination necessary to move through the difficulties of life, not to get scratched, hurt, entangled into the thorns, but kind of move behind, knowing exactly where the thorns are, so that you can come close to the fragrance of the rose, to the colors of the rose. You can come close to touch the silky like quality of the petals of the rose. It's a reminder, one of the beauty, the other one of the responsibility we have to approach that beauty with maturity. Life is an incredible gift. Life is an incredible gift which needs to be lived with caring attention. Being present means having caring attention towards whatever is happening in the present moment in your life. It is a way of being, a way of being with the gift of life. That's what the rose is about.
So, thinking about the tree, the rose, and the garden, being in the now, being present, are you also thinking that working with Mother Nature, so gardening, having your own vegetable gardens, I had to come back to food. Do we, is that something that you also recommend when we're doing our healing process?
If we have the opportunity, I know for many people it's impossible to have a garden.
Hmm.
Imagine people living in big cities, it's
Right.
impossible to have a garden. But there is a garden which is always available,
Hmm.
which is the garden of our feelings,
Yes.
which is the garden of our inner presence, which requires the same quality of attention, the same quality of appreciation, the same quality of curiosity, of openness, of acknowledgement, of love. That garden is available to everybody. I believe is available even to people who are sick on a bed, or people who are in jail, in prison, for
Yes.
example. That possibility is always there.
That's beautiful, Vincenzo. That's the garden of the heart, of course. Vincenzo, thank you so much for your time today. This was, even though we've talked before about the now technique, just thinking about the seed and the garden of knowledge is just, for me, it really gets to my heart. So I appreciate those images aside from the food that we had before. So, Vincenzo, thank you. I know that we're about 6 hours apart, and I appreciate you making the time. I hope we'll talk again soon, but for right now, people can, of course, go to your website, thenowtechnique.com. And I know that you have worksheets on there so people can get started, or visit you on Facebook where you have lively interactions, of course. And on Facebook, it's also just Now, NOW, with capital
Oh,
letters.
yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Vincenzo, I hope you're
Thank
going to
you.
have a great day in Sicily for right now.
Thank you,
All
Natalie.
right.
Thank you for your work.
All righty. Bye bye.